Many years ago, a famous British professor in the Imperial University industry, he found one of his favorite students was doing a research project with an AI algorithm. So analyzing the pixels on the screen can understand a game and also operate it. Later on, the student and two Cambridge friends created a company which became one of the few British company, unicorn company. The student is Peter Lipka, Improper Company. The first question I'd like to ask Peter, there's a media report headline, if all of us live in a virtual world, maybe your company will be able to create the world. At the same time, you yourself mentioned you want to create a matrix.
It's the matrix as in the film. So
Peter, can you share with us this like a seemingly crazy business idea? What is that?
Sure. Derek, I think we're already living in the matrix right now. You just don't know it.
Okay.
No, but in all seriousness, Improbable believes in a future where we all live in multiple worlds at the same time, with most of them being virtual worlds, and obviously the physical world we live in all today. And not this kind of scary future that the Matrix portrays. We believe these new worlds are going to be vital to us, and we're going to gain a lot of meaning, and we're going to enjoy our existence in them. And so, from our side, we believe that these worlds will come from a variety of places. They come from social media. So for example, people already live and breathe social media. They interact within these worlds. They make money from these worlds. The other place that they're going to come from is games. We believe games will become the basis of these new virtual worlds. There's a great statistic that earlier this year they made a survey for kids that played Fortnite, and over a third of them found that Fortnite is more important to them than many parts of the real world. In China, over 50% of gamers say that games let them interact with their family, become closer to their family and their friends. To create these kinds of online experiences is very key to have innovation, and so we've created a product, Spatial OS, that allows them to create new types of innovation and de-risk the experimentation with that innovation to create these very great experiences that really help them and make that enjoy their lives more.
Okay, thanks, Peter.
Peter gave us a very smart answer. He was talking, even though we do not have to care what kind of world, is it virtual or not. Many of us today are already living and breathing in this world, and also in the games. The question is for Mr. Yang. China's gaming market, is very unique. Very few gaming companies actually capture half of the market, and you happen to be the A share, the top two company leading far distant all the other companies. How do you define the gaming industry's content creation? Games, content creation. Actually, content includes many areas, but its future is towards become more and more elegant. Right now, the biggest market share, when we talk about games, you come resistant fighting on the PC and also mobile games. But if you look at the smartphone proliferation, by starting in 2012, but it's now become more and more popular. At the very beginning, there's a lack of products in the market. Whatever games you launch, there will be many people coming over and play that. So our pursuit of quality demand on quality is not that high. We just want to, as quickly as possible, launch new products and to capture the market share. But today, when the population dividend is disappearing, so products are become more and more. Customers are become fewer and fewer. But how can we capture meaningful customer, you have to come up with very good quality games, better and better in content. Actually, it includes the artistic quality of the games and the content and your work outlook, the approach of gaming, whether the game is smooth or not, and experiences you can provide to the customer, to the player. You want to do well in all these aspects. The input into these games, cost and cycle, will be very, very high. At the very beginning, it took us only 6 months to come up with a game, or even shorter. But now we found it may take 1 to 2 years, or even 3 years. So the development cycle is longer, barriers higher and higher. If you want to do a good content game, this is why this is what we see today. One, the barrier is higher and higher. The company who did very well before, the companies accumulated human talents and funding, they have the resources to have the time to come up with better games. But for smaller companies or startups, they lack resources. So the game they produced, quality will be lower compared to the big ones. However, in the market only recognizes the best ones. This is why, in the process of development of industry, gradually it will have this situation. Mobile games market, when you look at it, this situation will continue. The future of the content will be better and better in quality, 5G technology, the faster speed of transmission, cloud computing, etc., etc. All these technical changes will enable your games to become more and more excellent. The image quality, better and better transmission, faster and faster, and bigger and bigger in megasite, gigasite, hundreds of thousands online at the same time, or 100 people fighting each other. This type of game will be there. But some new devices, from PC to the mobile terminal, the carriers are changing. AR, VR equipment are on the merge. It's now been very popular, but still they are emerging. For new startups, this platform, new companies, may represent an opportunity, because on this platform, for many traditional existing gaming players, they may have different experiences. This may represent a new starting point, even though you have accumulated a lot of resources or startups. The challenge is the same. This might be a challenge for smaller ones. So human talents and machine devices will be that important. Okay, we'll have further questions for you later. Question is for Mr. Zhou. As an investor, you have been fighting very hard. You have your own set of strategies, like a tribal strategy. When you select an area, you will go all out within 2-3 months to find all the investment opportunities, to seize the good window. The problem is, when you succeeded capturing Himalaya and other new platforms, after that, gaming industry, unicorn companies already IPO. So entertainment and media industry, do you think there will be a next round of new opportunities? New opportunities, we believe there will be many. So sorry we missed working with your company. Actually, 2 years ago, we have a main thing, the next generation entertainment platform, we believe, for Himalaya content or games industry. The all digitalization will bring about a new enhancement of opportunities. The interaction between people and machine and people-to-people interaction, or even further, we want to find out people in the games and how they can interact with the human in real world. We want to find such a mechanism to do that. So in the process of searching for all of this, we missed Peter's company, but we still believe going forward, all the entertainment content will be more interactive. We'll have more UTC. So I may not disagree with Mr. Yang. All the games will be more and more cool and big, larger and larger. Maybe your platform provide opportunity the smaller ones create in a bigger world, a small gaming world. But when they monopolize the big world, but no matter what, there will be many new opportunities. There will be many different ways of playing these games. The advantage of this interaction, many non-gaming players in the future or non-content participant in the process, they will participate to some degree. A literary translation, Chinese online novel, the readers, actually are very popular kind. It's happening. It's more and more popular going forward. Many entertainment and other things, players and participants can become a organic part of this whole thing. I changed the roadmap. But there's another thing we want to focus. Digitalization is stronger, closer communication between people, closer with WeChat and everything. So the schoolmates did not have to see each other. They can get together on the net. So people feeling lonely is a major problem. Like in Japan, loneliness. So we pay a lot of attention to people in the games, communication with people in real life. We also pay special attention to the next generation of situation. What kind of changes? So actually, this is something we think will happen in the next 10 years. So basically, Mr. Yang believes, Mr. Yang and Peter gave us their specific idea. So if your platform, like Google and Android, can be more open, providing an ecosystem with iOS, Android, and Google, so a gaming company in Chengdu can PK the global competitors. So it should be more open and more fair for people to compete with each other. Mr. Zhou mentioned, he said, reminds me of a disruptive platform product, Special West, of your company. You mentioned if you use financial industry, frequent trading mechanism into the gaming industry, so Special West technology create many new values. Maybe you can share with us what kind of new values you're talking about.
Hired a lot of people that were outside the games industry, from Google to Amazon I came from Goldman Sachs, and so we set up to create the ability to create these new huge virtual worlds that people were talking about here today. However, we very soon realized that games are already a very risky endeavor. Often they cost hundreds of millions, and so Mr. Yang mentioned that they're getting more and more expensive and take longer and longer. And so we realized actually the key is about reducing risk, reducing time to market, and actually incremental innovation. Let them do what they already do very, very well. Building Call of Duty 16 or 17, I think this year is at. But let them do that little bit extra, that little bit more, either more interesting AI or more interesting kind of the simulation or more people, and let them incrementally innovate rather than jump straight into these large virtual worlds. And so that's why we created Spatial OS, to enable them to reduce that risk of game development, create that experimentation of innovation, and effectively make better and more compelling games. So in China we're quite lucky because we've now partnered with NetEase, who really believes this. They're an investor as well and building games on top of our technology, and as well as Tencent Cloud as well, who are building creating the kind of the fundamental infrastructure which we can run on, the cloud infrastructure. And so that's the value that we bring to our customers.
所以实际上像腾讯和网易这样
Indeed, for Tencent and NetEase, they are so visionary that they have seen the value that can be created by your company. So for the existing advantages, Mr. Yang, so would you like to enlighten us that big data will have a big impact on gaming development. It may even change the life cycle of a game. Is it right? Yes, you are very right. Because in the era or in the digital era, big data is essential, including in the gaming industry. So we use the big data analysis system. For example, we have collected a lot of data from existing games, various activities and scenarios, favorable scenarios. So these kind of information collected will be very helpful for our future gaming development. And when we are searching for customers, and we need to find a market position. Then how to target the right market position, we also depend on big data so that we can reach our right clients, right customers as quickly as possible. So when it comes to our customer behavior, how long they stay with our game, we will use big data in analysis in order to improve it. So big data helps us a lot. Now we would like to go deeper a little bit, Peter, because we know that your focus is the game, and maybe in the future you will go beyond the game. For example, a mining simulation, urban simulation. If a fire break out, you need to do a simulation. So maybe in the future there will be competition, cross-sector competition, and for Otuk. So how do you view the cross-sector competition and the opportunities?
Gaming is in a very interesting space. It's at the intersection of simulation, visualization, as well as human interaction. And so there is definitely applications of something like spatial awareness outside of gaming. You mentioned quite a few areas that we've already explored. A picture that I like to paint is imagine large-scale disaster recovery. What happens when, for example, an earthquake happens in a place that you didn't predict before? You can try and predict what the impact would be on buildings and on infrastructure, but how do you train the thousands of first responders, the thousands of people to help save lives and save the environment they're in? The fire department, the police department, the medical department, government officials, they often don't work together. They don't know how to go and go towards a particular objective together. And so how do you train them? If you created a virtual world where they could all interact with each other and train for these kinds of scenarios, you can save lives and you can save a lot of money. And so that's where we see our potential application areas, and versus kind of some of the other businesses that do just a portion of it, either visualization or simulation. They haven't put it all together. So we see potentially others as partners rather than competitors.
OK， 最后一个问题 ，Yes or No？ 我想问一下周总，你觉得 Peter 这样
Last question, Mr. Zhou, what do you think of Peter's view? Do you think that investors will increase their evaluation of your value? Evaluation is not so solid. We would like to increase our value. For example, the high resolution 3-dimensional map will be something that we'll consider. Thank you, Mr. Zhou and other panelists. And I would like to conclude with a quote from Mr. Zhou. In this world, we would like to create a species that people have never seen. These species will create a new world. Thank you.